Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be counting down my top 15 favorite Breaking Benjamin songs of all time. I thought I would make an updated list after Ember had been out for a while, and Ember's been out for almost a year now, which is kind of insane. And there's also going to be a lot of honorable mentions. It's really tough because even doing a top 15 for this band is really tough for me, but I was able to do it. I was able to narrow it down between their 6 albums in their discography. So this is my personal favorites list. Let me know your personal favorite Breaking Benjamin songs in the comments, but let's get on to the list. Feed the Wolf was one of the very first singles released from Ember. I remember it coming out about a year ago now, and I was just so thrilled because this was kind of a nice balance of newer and older Breaking Benjamin. There's a lot of layers and there's a lot of polishing going on when it comes to the production, because that's kind of Breaking Benjamin's thing nowadays, it seems. And the vocal layering, the vocal effects, and Ben's actual vocal agility is pretty amazing in this song. In the verses especially, where Ben is just all over the place with his voice, but it just works really nicely and harmoniously with everything else going on. It's got this really heavy, kind of gritty sound to it, and something about it, when I first listened to it, reminded me of like We Are Not Alone or Saturate or something like that. I don't really hear that as much anymore, but I definitely hear elements from their older sound. And I really liked the Starset sounding like spoken vocal bridge thing going on. I really liked that. I like the lyrics quite a bit. There's a lot to love about this song. The closing song to Dark Before Dawn has a real bite to it when it comes to that main riff. I kind of hear a lot of metal qualities going on with that riff, which is interesting because then we launch into the verse, which is very calm, and it really is reminiscent of Dance with the Devil. I just noticed that recently. There's a lot of similar things going on, which I really like because I like both songs. And I remember saying that Defeated was one of my least favorites on Dark Before Dawn for a while because of how quiet the verses are. I've always loved the chorus to this song. It's one of my favorite choruses they've ever done, and I think the lyrics are quite amazing in this song. There's a really nice sentiment going on, a very triumphant kind of a message, and I really love that about it. It's a great way to close out the album. I really love how anthemic the chorus is and everything. The guitar tone sounds amazing. It's interesting because when I first heard Dark Before Dawn, I had 3 absolute favorites from that album. 2 of them are going to be honorable mentions in the description, and the third favorite was Defeated. So it's interesting that it was my favorite at first, and then it kind of was one of my least favorites, and now it's one of my favorites again. I guess that's just sometimes how it works with this band, you know. A lot of picks on here were not on my last list, and so I don't think there's a single pick on here that's at the same spot as last time. So that just shows how much my opinion has changed in about a year and a half, especially since Ember's come out. Sooner or Later is one of those songs that I have a pretty deep connection to because it was pretty much the first song I ever tried to learn on electric guitar. I remember I just wanted to learn every single riff to this song because I just loved how it all worked together. This is quite an interesting song because you have that kind of gritty, like really straightforward kind of a riff opening up the song. But then, once you kind of get further into the song, you realize this is sort of a power ballad. I don't like using that phrase with Sooner or Later because it's not emotional enough to be a power ballad, I don't think, but there's definitely elements of that here. The chorus is softer, but then there are other parts of the song that really get going and are very guitar-driven. So it's just a very nice balance because of that. It just has the right amount of aggression and sadness. I feel like the lyrics are pretty sad. Like, I've always interpreted the lyrics as like how fame can kind of like eat you up, you know? It's kind of tough because with a lot of Breaking Benjamin songs, it just tends to be lines that fit together well and rhyme, and that's pretty much it. Like, sometimes there isn't really an overarching message in all their songs, and that's fine with me. But I do see a little bit of a theme going on with Sooner or Later. You know, sooner or later you're gonna hate it. Go ahead and throw your life away. Like, it's pretty intense, you know, so I really like the mood. The riff is really catchy. I just really love everything about this song. Guys, I done goofed and totally forgot to put what my number 12 pick was. So my number 12 pick was Natural Life from Saturate, mostly for the bass line, mostly for the Tool kind of sound throughout. I am so sorry. I somehow skipped over it when I was reading my notes in this take. So, on to my number 11 pick. This next song from Ember is a heavy, hard hitter, and I really like the ambient intro and how it just launches into that main riff. Ben's voice is very dynamic and very multi-dimensional in this song because you have a lot of different tones going on. Of course, there's that kind of classic moment, or I consider it classic, the classic moment in the bridge where Ben is screaming, and that really sounds great. And then there's other parts of the song where he's just very gritty. And then there's other parts where he's kind of throaty, and then there's other parts where he has a more bright tone. It's just, he's all over the place in this song when it comes to his tone, and it shows how much control he has over his voice, and that is the main reason why this landed on the list. Another reason is because each section of the song really leads into the next very well, especially the pre-chorus to the chorus. I really love that transition, and the chorus has a really nice rhythm to it. It's very rhythmically driven, and it just kind of makes you want to headbang. It's very catchy in every way possible, and I always have this song stuck in my head. Like, I have it playing in my head right now. I can literally imagine exactly how it goes. I think it's one of their better heavy songs, especially when it comes to their new material. Going on to number 10, we have an actual power ballad, which is Without You, the closing track to Dear Agony. This is a song that had to grow on me quite a bit, which I know is going to be a little bit unpopular, but there's always kind of something that didn't really make me connect with the song much until I listened to it more over the years. But I think it's because the chord progression is pretty standard, but because of the key being F minor, it sounds very somber, it sounds very sad, and it's kind of ambiguous. The message even of the song is kind of ambiguous. It can be seen as kind of romantic, or it can be seen as kind of a breakup song. It's really just depends on how you look at it, because there's the line, I can't face the dark without you, but then there's the line, I forgive you, forget you, the end. And I really love that. It's the perfect way to end an album. Right after Ben says that line for the last time, you have that orchestral outro going on. It's just absolutely beautiful, and the thing that really made this song land in the top 10 is the very catchy chorus melody. It's one of their catchiest melodies in their whole entire discography. I absolutely love it. I don't wanna change the world. I just wanna leave it colder. I Will Not Bow is another song from Dear Agony, and I think it's one of their best singles they've released. There's a definite groove very consistently throughout the song, yet there's a lot of changes when it comes to the pace of it. You have the chorus being very slow, which the first time I listened to the song, I was shocked at how slow the chorus was going because of how upbeat the main riff and the verse are. The drums in this song are what stand out and kind of what drive it forward more than anything, because Chad Zaliga is just killing it. I really love how they focused more on drums in this song. The last thing I want to shout out about I Will Not Bow is Ben's vocal performance. He sounds very invested. He does these higher belts that I really love. There's just a lot of really interesting moments in this song, and it's a really great performance from all the band members. If there's one way I could sum up Dance with the Devil, it would be well written. Seriously, songwriting is off the charts here. There's so many little elements that all add up to just make this song pretty amazing, and one of my favorites on Phobia. We have beautiful softer moments in the verse. I compared the verse to Defeated to the verse in Dance with the Devil because there's a similar mood going on. You see, with Dance with the Devil, I do think they executed it even better. I think it led into the next sections of the song very well. The chorus is more intense, definitely. The word dance is split between two notes. I'm not sure why I really love that a lot. I just love how the songwriting played out. The lyrics themselves are quite dramatic and vague, but they're executed very well. The bridge guitar riffs are something else I want to shout out because there's this really quick riff that goes on in the bridge. I absolutely love it, and then it kind of goes into the solo. It has some of their best guitar work in pretty much all their songs. That's why I placed it in the top 10. It really deserves it. When Blood was released, I was pretty much going insane because of how excited I was for Ember. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so unique, this is so amazing. I love the double bass going on in the verse. It's just got some great rhythm parts to it. The chorus has these really badass pinch harmonics going on with the guitars. The mood is bouncy, it's upbeat, yet it's also very menacing at the same time, and I really like how they could actually pull that off. Because Ben's voice is very gritty here, then the instrumental's super bouncy and super fun, and that's kind of something that I've missed from Saturate, because Saturate had a lot of fun moments in the instrumentation, and I really love how this has that as well. I think it kind of accomplishes that very well, and so that's why I think it's the best song on Ember. I think out of all their songs, Hollow has some of the best guitar work with how the lead and the rhythm work together very harmoniously. Guitar solo is something that I appreciate a lot because they barely appear in this band's music throughout 6 albums, which I wish they would do more guitar solos, but hey, I really like this one because it's pretty creative, there's a lot going on in it, and this song is a nice balance of melody and some rougher elements, and it has absolutely no weak links in it. There aren't too many complex elements to this song from We Are Not Alone. There's a jump scare like intro with the piano and the main riff, which I really love because I love when songs like trick listeners and catch them off guard because I'm weird like that. There's the straightforward, very quick rhythm going on. There's the bass slapping going on, there's the heavy main riffs, there's the chorus, which sounds kind of like Nirvana in spots, and then there's the kind of unsettling lyrics going on. It's definitely very typical of early Breaking Benjamin, but I really love all these elements because they just add up to make such an energetic headbanger, and pretty much nearly perfect in every way, and it consistently stays within my top 5 favorite Breaking Benjamin songs. The moody bass presence in the verse really adds to the atmosphere of the song. There's a very catchy lead guitar going on in the bridge and also in the main riff. There's a lot of rhythmic variety that goes on between the choruses that appear in the song because the first and second chorus are very different from each other. I've talked about this before on my channel probably 4 times, so I'm sorry if I seem redundant, but I really do like how there's different choruses in this song. It's one of the big reasons why it even appears in my top 5. The biggest moment though is probably when Ben screams in the bridge because it's just one of those classic moments that I really love listening to every single time. The instruments in this song are very moody, especially in the intro, because a lot of songs from Saturate are very moody and atmospheric and kind of calm in a lot of spots before they just evolve into very fun, catchy riffs. The thing that makes this song stand out a lot on their debut album is the rhythm and grit in the main riff, and then the menacing atmosphere with the palm muted guitars in the otherwise very calm verse. And then there's Ben, who's singing pretty intensely, but he has no growl to his voice whatsoever. And it's something that he really doesn't do enough, because he has a really nice, clear voice. Water is a song that really stands out to me because of how it's structured, and because of how much balance it has between a lot of melody, and then the riff is just really intense. It has a lot to offer. I would say that So Cold is one of the band's best singles. Well, actually, it's ranking at number 2. Of course, it's their best single, because number 1 is not a single. The gradual intro is very dark, very moody. It leads very well into the verse, and I would say that overall this is probably their darkest song, and I really just love the mood of it and the atmosphere in it. And Ben sounds pretty amazing. He utilizes the best parts of his range. He doesn't go too crazy out of his comfort range. He doesn't sing too low or too high. He just sounds pretty great here, and he has just the right amount of growl in his voice. It's amazing to me how this song is almost 5 minutes long. It's mostly a lot of good, simple things that all add up to be a really great song. It's just a beast of a song, and it was my number 1 favorite of Breaking Benjamin's for years. Until I started listening to my number 1 pick more often and I realized how much it meant to me.
My hands are broken, and time is going on and on.
This song, You, from Phobia, is a power ballad more than anything else, but it hits me harder than any of the other songs this band has released over their discography, mostly for the lyrical sentiment, because the narrator is somebody who's made a lot of dangerous mistakes, and they're kind of warning and advising the other person to not go down the same exact road they went down. Even though there's a lot of sadness and a lot of regret in that message, there's a lot of wisdom in it as well, and I really love it for that. I'd say that the calm guitar in the intro that eventually evolves into some big droning power chords in the chorus before the F minor chord just ends the chorus on this really kind of dark, eerie note. I'd say that that communicates the message pretty well, and everything just complements each other really well in this song. All the instrumentation sounds pretty great. I'd say that one of my favorite things about this song is Ben's voice, because he really shows off his range in this song, which he doesn't do very often. He ends up belting out some of the most emotional high notes that I've ever heard from him in his career. It's just always incredible to hear from him. It's gotta be one of my favorite songs of all time because of how deeply it connects with me. And it's tough to articulate exactly how I feel about this song, but it means a lot to me, which is why it holds the #1 spot on the list. So that is the end of the list. That is my top 15 favorite Breaking Benjamin songs of all time. I would say that seeing them live a couple months ago for the first time ever was not only an amazing experience, but it also helped me shape this list quite a bit, because I think that I Will Not Bow might have been a little bit lower had I not heard it live. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.